So if depression isn't a biological illness, what causes depression? Depression is caused by learned helplessness, trying to control the uncontrollable, having black and white thinking, having overmet, undermet or inappropriately met basic emotional needs, and unused or inappropriately used essential skills. So with learned helplessness, life can throw all sorts of rubbish at you that can make you feel helpless. And if you reach a point where you feel there's just no way out of a situation, so you develop that helpless response, then you can end up becoming depressed because situations are occurring around you that you don't want to happen, that are making you feel bad, and or at least your reaction to those situations is making you feel bad, and you just feel helpless. What can I do? There's nothing I can do. And then that can tip you into a spiral towards depression. Trying to control the uncontrollable. So if someone, for example, is a perfectionist and they're constantly attempting to control things around them, then because you can't control everything around you and life does have elements of randomness, you can end up developing a lot of stress over that and then becoming depressed because of all the stress of attempting to control things that are out of your control. So there are some things in life that are in your control, that you can control, do something about. There are other things in your life that are out of your control, you can't do anything about them. And it's when you try to control those things that you don't have control over that, again, you can drift towards depression. Having black and white thinking and perhaps having a very low tolerance for uncertainty can again lead to becoming depressed in a similar way to controlling the uncontrollable. That if you've got black and white thinking, everything is all or nothing. So things are either all good or they're all bad. Things are all my fault or they're all your fault. And having that kind of mindset just makes you very prone to potentially becoming depressed, puts you at a high risk of it. So we all have emotional needs and we need to have them met appropriately. And not having them met isn't the thing that necessarily makes you become depressed, but it's how you're responding to things which ends up leading to the depression. So sometimes it could be, for example, you're not socialising, so you're not getting your need for socialisation met. You're not socialising, and because you're not getting that need met, you end up perhaps worrying about things a lot. So that's your reaction to the not socialising. You're worrying about things a lot, worrying about what others think. You're perhaps seeing others having a good time, maybe on TV or whatever, and thinking, oh, I so wish that I was able to socialise like that and mix with people like that. I don't have any friends. And then you start kicking in with black and white thinking of nobody likes me and all these kind of things. And then off the back of all this, you suddenly become depressed. And so the depression ends up being a signal to you. So it ends up becoming a positive. It's a signal, it's a solution to that situation, saying you need to go and socialise more. You need to go and get these needs met. Because if you do that, then you're not going to be feeling down and feeling depressed and feeling miserable. And you're not going to be worrying about what people think of you, because you can be face to face with them and you can know they like you because they're spending time with you. The difficulty is obviously most people don't think about depression in that way. When you're depressed, you're not thinking, oh, this is great, I'm so happy I'm depressed. It's a sign to let me know that something's going wrong with my life. That's not a default setting in sort of way of thinking for people when they're depressed. So obviously as a therapist, that's where you're able to help them and able to reframe these things and able to help them to see, right, so this is a sign, this is just giving you a message that something needs to shift in your life. What is it telling you? Let's explore that. And you have essential skills, so we all have an ability to imagine things. We all have an ability to tolerate uncertainty, for example. But if these aren't being met correctly or they're not functioning correctly, then you can have problems. So, for example, if you misuse your imagination, then that means you're going to be worrying. So you've got an imagination that you can use to make yourself feel good, but you can also use your imagination to make yourself feel bad. And if you're doing that, you're more likely to become depressed. You've got an ability, an inbuilt ability to tolerate uncertainty. And again, if that's faulty, if it's not working right, then you can't tolerate uncertainty. So again, you're likely to have very black and white thinking, and so you're likely to go on to become depressed.